Lesson on Obedience. Children, always obey your parents, for this pleases Yahavah. My son, obey your father's commands, and don't neglect your mother's instruction. Obey my commands and live. Guard my instructions as you guard your own eyes. Joyful are those who obey his laws and search for him with all their hearts. Yahavah leads with unfailing love and faithfulness all who keep his covenant and obey his demands. But Elohim says to the wicked, "Why bother reciting my decrees and pretending to obey my covenant? If you want to live securely in the land, follow my decrees and obey my regulations. You must love Yahavah your Elohim and always obey his requirements, decrees, regulations, and commands." Emmanuel replied, "My mother and my brothers are all those who hear Elohim's word and obey it. To reject the law is to praise the wicked. To obey the law is to fight them. So obey the commands of Yahavah your Elohim by walking in his ways and fearing him. Children, obey your parents because you belong to Yahavah, for this is the right thing to do. If you obey my decrees and my regulations, you will find life through them. I am Yahavah, but I lavish unfailing love for 1,000 generations on those who love me and obey my commands. If they listen and obey Elohim, they will be blessed with prosperity throughout their lives. All their years will be pleasant, for we will be counted as righteous when we obey all the commands Yahavah our Elohim has given us. Fear of Yahavah is the foundation of true wisdom. All who obey his commandments will grow in wisdom. Praise him forever. In the same way, when you obey me, you should say, "We are unworthy servants who have simply done our duty." Yes, indeed, it is good when you obey the royal law as found in the scriptures. Love your neighbor as yourself. That's the whole story. Here now is my final conclusion. Fear Elohim and obey his commands, for this is everyone's duty. Serve only Yahavah your Elohim and fear him alone. Obey his commands, listen to his voice, and cling to him. If you love me, obey my commandments. But those who obey Elohim's word truly show how completely they love him. That is how we know we are living in him. We destroy every proud obstacle that keeps people from knowing Elohim. We capture their rebellious thoughts and teach them to obey the Messiah. Don't you realize that you become the slave of whatever you choose to obey? You can be a slave to sin, which leads to death, or you can choose to obey Elohim, which leads to righteous living. So you must live as Elohim's obedient children. Don't slip back into your old ways of living to satisfy your own desires. You didn't know any better then. How joyful are those who fear Yahavah, all who follow his ways. And I will put my spirit in you so that you will follow my decrees and be careful to obey my regulations. For Elohim is working in you, giving you the desire and the power to do what pleases him. Even though Emmanuel was Elohim's son, he learned obedience from the things he suffered. In this way, Elohim qualified him as a perfect high priest, and he became the source of eternal salvation for all those who obey him. But if you look carefully into the perfect law that sets you free, and if you do what it says and don't forget what you heard, then Elohim will bless you for doing it. This is what I told them: obey me, and I will be your Elohim, and you will be my people. Do everything as I say, and all will be well. If you obey the commands of Yahavah, your Elohim, and walk in his ways, Yahavah will establish you as his holy people as he swore he would do. Honor your father and mother. Then you will live a long, full life in the land Yahavah your Elohim is giving you. But those who do what is right come to the light, so others can see that they are doing what Elohim wants. Not everyone who calls out to me, Yahavah, Yahavah, will enter the kingdom of heaven. Only those who actually do the will of my Father in heaven will enter. But don't just listen to Elohim's word. You must do what it says. Otherwise, you are only fooling yourselves. Study this book of instruction continually. Meditate on it day and night so you will be sure to obey everything written in it. Only then will you prosper and succeed in all you do. When you obey my commandments, you remain in my love, just as I obey my Father's commandments and remain in his love. Those who accept my commandments and obey them are the ones who love me, and because they love me, my Father will love them. And I will love them and reveal myself to each of them. And we can be sure that we know him if we obey his commandments. If someone claims, I know Elohim, but doesn't obey Elohim's commandments, that person is a liar and is not living in the truth. I will show you what it's like when someone comes to me, listens to my teaching, and then follows it. It is like a person building a house who digs deep and lays the foundation on solid rock. When the floodwaters rise and break against that house, it stands firm because it is well built. So be careful to obey all the commands I give you. You must not add anything to them or subtract anything from them. If you fully obey Yahavah your Elohim and carefully keep all his commands that I am giving you today, Yahavah your Elohim will set you high above all the nations of the world. You will experience all these blessings if you obey Yahavah your Elohim. Your towns and your fields will be blessed. Your children and your crops will be blessed. The offspring of your herds and flocks will be blessed. Your fruit baskets and breadboards will be blessed. Wherever you go and whatever you do, you will be blessed. Yahavah will conquer your enemies when they attack you. They will attack you from one direction, but they will scatter from you in 7. Yahavah will guarantee a blessing on everything you do and will fill your storehouses with grain. Yahavah your Elohim will bless you in the land he is giving you. If you obey the commands of Yahavah your Elohim and walk in his ways, Yahavah will establish you as his holy people, as he swore he would do. Then all the nations of the world will see that you are a people claimed by Yahavah, and they will stand in awe of you. Yahavah will give you prosperity in the land he swore to your ancestors to give you, blessing you with many children, numerous livestock, and abundant crops. Yahavah will send rain at the proper time from his rich treasury in the heavens, and will bless all the work you do. You will lend to many nations, but you will never need to borrow from them. If you listen to these commands of Yahavah your Elohim that I am giving you today, and if you carefully obey them, Yahavah will make you the head and not the tail, and you will always be on top and never at the bottom. You must not turn away from any of the commands I am giving you today, nor follow after other gods and worship them.